Tonight, Troy University kicks off the Public Radio Spring Membership Drive.
Stay tuned. TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the high-definition digital production center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to TrojanVision Nightly News for April 20th, 2012. I'm Christina Cook.
And I'm Courtney Steele. Thank you for joining us this evening. The son of one of Alabama's most famous governors was on the Troy campus this afternoon. He visited to talk about his new book about his father. Dustin Carroll has the story.
Friday afternoon, Troy University welcomed George Wallace Jr., son of former Alabama governor, to campus to discuss his book, The Man You Never Knew, by the man who knew him best, a biography about his late father, George Wallace. And as Hal Fulmer, Associate Provost and Dean of Undergraduate First-Year Studies, says, the Wallace family played a significant role in Alabama history.
Mr. Wallace, who's George Wallace Jr., is certainly a part of that. Not only his father, who really did stride across the landscape in the 1960s and 70s and even beyond as governor, but his mother, Lurleen Wallace, was a governor as well. He's one of those rare people who had both parents serve as elected governors of the state. So it's a great opportunity for our students to get to see him.
Wallace Jr. says that his father's story is the same story all Alabama residents from that generation can relate to, and he wants to share that story with today's younger generation.
In the writing, I've tried to share with people his entire life, and not just a couple of stops along the way relative to the issue of segregation, but how his journey was a journey we all took in the South and the nation and in Alabama relative to that issue. And he worked to bring all of our people together.
The former Troy University faculty member from 1978 to 1987 says he hopes people that read his book will experience his father's entire adventure through life.
Segregation was the highlight, but his entire journey. He's reaching out to the man who shot him, his forgiveness of the man who shot him. He's reaching out to the black community when he went to Dr. King's church in 1979 and told the congregation he'd been wrong and asked for their forgiveness.
Dustin Carroll, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Wallace's visit was sponsored by Troy's College of Arts and Sciences and the Alabama Humanities Foundation.
Troy University Public Radio is looking for some support from listeners in the coming week. Public Radio Spring Membership Drive kicks off today and will through next week. The annual drive encourages listeners to donate to Troy Public Radio in order to help pay for programming on the listener-supported station. The commercial-free station needs listener support to help keep many of its programs on the air every year. The drive is a way to help keep those shows on Troy Public Radio. Listeners can contribute to Troy University Public Radio by calling 1-800-800-6616 or visit the website at troy.edu and select the Public Radio quick link.
For anyone who missed the Troy premiere of the musical Band Geeks, there is still another chance to see it. Band Geeks is hitting the road for its second performance. The musical will be performed tonight at the Davis Theater on the Troy Montgomery campus. Band Geeks was written by Troy alumnus Tommy Newman and is performed by the Troy University Theater Department. The Montgomery performance is the first of 3 road performances for the show. There will be 2 more shows in Birmingham in May. The show starts tonight at 7 in the Davis Theater in Montgomery. Tickets are 2 for $15 and the box office opens at 6:30. Today, the club focused on some furry friends that were here on campus today.
Yeah, well, Courtney, the Earth Week, educated by educated students, we talked about a lot of environmental issues.
Let's take a look at the story.
Earth Week 2012 has come to an end, and for its finale, Troy University's Environmental Club invited Dr. Thaddeus McCrae to come to Troy and talk about animal behavior, particularly the behavior of eastern gray squirrels. On Friday, faculty and students got to hear examples of the squirrels' alarm signals and hear some samples of McCrae's experiments.
I presented a brief summary of my dissertation work, which was examining the alarm signals used by the eastern gray squirrel in response to different types of predators. Specifically, I looked at predators that approach on the ground versus predators that approach from the air.
One graduate student says that McCrae's presentation gave viewers new information about an animal that they see every day, but may not know much about.
We see squirrels every day, I mean everywhere. They're all U.S. They all make these weird noises and they're like so hyper. So it's nice to know something new, something else about something so common.
But what makes animal behavior so important?
It makes the world around us that much more interesting. We can ask questions and wonder about things, and that's cool. But when we then answer those questions, that leads us to even more questions, and kind of the universe sort of unfolds in front of us. And I think there's something really valuable about just learning to understand the world and the universe that we live in.
Tiffany Lester, Troy TrojanVision News.
Today is the last day of Earth Week activities. Earth Day is this Sunday.
And now taking a look at news from around the state. In Fairhope, police are investigating the shootings of 2 children at a home, which left one of them dead. A police spokesman says the older of the 2 children, a girl, died after the shootings yesterday in a mobile home in the South Alabama town.
In Tuscaloosa, a school system is considering changes to its discrimination and harassment policies to include students and employees who change genders or wear clothing of the opposite sex. The board overseeing Tuscaloosa City County Schools discussed changing the policy during a meeting last night.
And in Montgomery, the unemployment rate has fallen for the 8th straight month to 7.3% for March. That's down from a revised rate of 7.5% in February and a high of 10% in July.
Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, the softball team was facing a ranked opponent last night at home. Danielle Percival will let us know next when she comes with sports.
But first, bond has been set for Zimmerman in the Trayvon Martin case. Find out the latest when we return.
If you can learn one thing in life, especially if you go into business, it's how to communicate and how to work with others. And I do think Troy taught me that.
Troy reaches out to people who they see their commitment to public service.
Troy just attracts students that want to give back to the community, that want to give back all across the world.
We want to educate the mind to think, the heart to feel, the body to act. We want to enable our students to go out into this world and make a difference.
Troy University, in class, online, within reach. Troy.edu.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now for a look at what's happening across the nation and around the world, we go to Christina Cook at the Global News Desk. Christina?
Thanks, Courtney. The Florida man accused of murdering Trayvon Martin will be freed on bond. The judge announced his decision at a hearing where the suspect, George Zimmerman, took the stand. Ronald Pinkston has the latest from Sanford, Florida.
A shackled George Zimmerman offered a surprise apology to the parents of Trayvon Martin who were in the courtroom.
I wanted to say I am sorry for the loss of your son. I did not know how old he was. I thought he was a little bit younger than I am, and I did not know if he was armed or not.
The apology happened at Zimmerman's bond hearing. Defense lawyers called on Zimmerman's parents and wife as character witnesses. They testified by phone because they have been threatened.
I've never known him to be violent at all, unless he was provoked, and then he would turn the other cheek.
In the end, Circuit Judge Kenneth Lester granted Zimmerman a $150,000 bail, far less than the $1 million bond requested by prosecutors.
Do you have any comment?
Martin's parents left court quickly without speaking to reporters.
It was devastating that he got to give a self-serving apology to help him get a bond. They were very outraged at that.
Zimmerman had asked to meet with Martin's parents before the hearing, but the family's lawyers said it was not the time. CBS News has learned that Zimmerman could be out of jail in the next 24 hours. He and his attorney are working to come up with the bail money and hoping to get permission for Zimmerman to live out of state.
I think he's happy that he's going to be back with his family and be out.
The Neighborhood Watch volunteer is charged with second-degree murder for shooting 17-year-old Trayvon Martin during a confrontation in February. Zimmerman claims it was self-defense. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, Sanford, Florida.
Investigators looking into the 1979 disappearance of Eden Patz began removing debris from the basement of a Manhattan building just down the street from where the 6-year-old boy was last seen. The case made national headlines and drew attention to child safety issues. Sources say renewed interest in the unsolved mystery comes after cadaver dogs detected the presence of human remains in the building. Allison Harleman reports from New York.
Authorities removed chunks of concrete from a building cellar in Lower Manhattan. It's just down the block from where Eitan Pates was last seen on his way to school nearly 33 years ago.
We're cautiously optimistic we'll find evidence.
Dozens of police and FBI agents have converged on the Soho neighborhood looking for clues about what happened to the 6-year-old boy. Investigators say an FBI dog detected remains in the building's basement where carpenter Othniel Miller had a workshop. Miller used to pay Eitan to help him with small chores. Shortly after the boy vanished, Miller laid down a new concrete floor. Miller's family says he's innocent.
The FBI has been here to investigate the case. He cooperated with them, went to the site, and he doesn't have anything to do with it.
Investigators have looked at a long list of suspects over the years, including convicted child molester Jose Ramos, who was dating Eitan's babysitter. The boy's disappearance drew national attention. Eitan was the first missing child pictured on milk cartons nationwide. The excavation is taking place just down the street from where Eitan Pates' parents still live. Neighbors who followed the case all these years are hoping there will finally be some answers.
It will be a remarkable thing to think that after 33 years, they finally come to an end.
Authorities set up dumpsters outside the building to collect all the debris. They expect the work to take up to 5 days. Allison Harmelin, CBS News, New York.
Even more Secret Service agents could be out of a job for their involvement in a prostitution scandal in Colombia. And we're learning about more agents who have already been forced out. Danielle Nottingham has the latest from White House.
The Secret Service investigation into a scandal involving prostitutes could cost more agents their jobs.
I don't see how those who are involved in this should be able to continue in their work.
CBS News has learned the results of the polygraph test given to the agents who've already had their security clearance suspended could be in today. Those results will likely determine if more will be fired.
As the evidence builds, then the director has sufficient evidence to push them out.
2 of the 3 agents already forced out have been identified as supervisors Greg Stokes, who was fired, and David Cheney, who retired.
I would sure love to get to run to Michigan.
Cheney, who once served on vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin's detail, posted a picture of him and Palin on Facebook, commenting, quote, "I was really checking her out, if you know what I mean." On Fox News, Palin responded,
"Well, check this out, bodyguard, you're fired."
Palin is joining a growing chorus of Republicans questioning how the White House is handling the scandal and President Obama's leadership.
He's really got to start cracking down and seeing some heads roll.
It is preposterous to politicize the Secret Service.
The White House has maintained it has confidence in the current Secret Service Director, Mark Sullivan. He has been briefing the White House and congressional leaders throughout the investigation. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, the White House.
And that wraps things up from the Global News Desk. To see more stories from across the country and around the world, including a cutting-edge test that can grant a woman a glimpse into the future of her fertility, you can tune into TrojanVision Global News right after the nightly news. Now, back to you, Courtney.
Thanks, Christina. Now, Danielle Percival joins with a look at sports. So, Danielle, it's the weekend finally, and I think the Trojan sports will be some action.
That's right, Courtney. Lots of Trojan sports action, but last night the softball team had a game here at home and got the chance to broadcast the game. Give you some details about that coming up, but let's get into the game right now. Okay. After going 3-1 over the past week against Florida teams on the road, the Trojan softball team got the chance to make it 4-1 against Sunshine State teams at home yesterday against Florida State. Courtney Addison gives us a recap.
The Troy softball team welcomed number 22 ranked ACC opponent Florida State Thursday night, and the Trojans were able to pull out a victory despite not having Hayden Gant in the lineup due to academic obligations. Both the Seminoles and the Trojans got off to a rocky start in the first inning. In the top of the second, Troy made a few bad plays and allowed FSU to put 3 runs on the board. But Troy bounced back strong and throughout the game were able to pound out 7 hits and push 4 runs across the plate.
Really, the 3 runs, we helped Florida State get those runs with a fielder's choice that wasn't very wise, and then not a very good play on a chance for a double play. And so we were telling them it's going to be very hard to beat a ranked opponent when you make those kind of mistakes, and let's chip away. And I was very proud of how they didn't wait. They didn't just sit on 1, 2, or 3 runs, but just came back with a vengeance after spotting Florida State those 3 runs. So I couldn't be prouder of them.
Freshman Ashley Rainey picked up the win for Troy and improved her record to 15-8. Rainey allowed 3 runs on 5 hits and struck out 1. Sophomore Taylor Smart led the Trojans at the plate, going 2 for 3 and also contributed an RBI.
Ashley did a tremendous job of keeping the speed off base, which was key to us controlling their offensive production. And really, aside from the 1 bad pitch to their 8-hole hitter, Rainey did a tremendous job. Very proud of Ashley Rainey. Looking forward to having her here for the next 4 years.
Defeating Florida State is the 3rd time this season Troy has shut down a top 25 ranked opponent. Troy's season record now sits at 28-16. Coach Davis's thoughts on the victory and how she hopes it will affect the rest of the Trojan season.
This should give us some momentum. We've got to take care of business in our 8 remaining conference games, and then do the best we can when we roll into Tuscaloosa to face Crimson Tide next week.
Courtney Addison, Troy, TrojanVision Sports.
Are right back in action tomorrow as they play host to Middle Tennessee. The Trojans and the Blue Raiders are set for a doubleheader Saturday beginning at 1, and the final game of this series will be played Sunday afternoon at 1. If history means anything, the baseball team just might have success at Western Kentucky. The Trojans have taken 4 straight at Western and won the past 6 games in the series. In their last conference action, the Trojans took 2 of 3 against the Blue Raiders for their first conference series win. The Trojans outscored Middle Tennessee 16-5 in the final 2 games at Riddle Pace Field, both Trojan victories. Troy has yet to sweep an opponent this season, but head coach Bobby Pierce knows the importance of picking up a second series win this weekend.
Series for us, and against a team that's a little bit like us too, that's been hampered with a few injuries. One of their weekend guys went down with an injury, so you know, we've had success there before. We haven't been there since 2008, but the years that we were going, we've played well at their park and had some great success. So hopefully we'll play a great series and win one on the road this week.
First pitch for tonight's game is in less than an hour as Tyler Ray will take the mound on T-Ray Friday. Saturday's game has been moved up to a 3 o'clock start, and Sunday, the final game of the series, will be played at 1. The track team will be back on the road this weekend at the Auburn Invitational, the final meet before the Trojans play host to the Coach O Invitational. Tonight, Junior Enoch Karui will run in the 5K Invitational, and the men's and women's hammer and javelin events are on schedule for today. In the javelin throw, Martine Pildovs ranks 4th in the NCAA Division I outdoor qualifier list with a throw of 75.6 meters. This is the 2nd time in the outdoor season Troy has run in Auburn. The events will conclude tomorrow. The Trojan men's tennis team finished their season yesterday, falling to number 71 Louisiana Lafayette 4-1 in the Sun Belt Conference Championships. The men's team finished their season at 5-18, and they were unable to pick up a victory in conference play. They were 3-3 at home this season, which was an improvement over 2011's 1-2 record at the Lunsford Tennis Complex. And the women's tennis team ended their season today against Florida International at the Conference Championship. The Trojans were up 3-0, but fell 4-3 to the Golden Panthers. So as we let off sports talking about softball, they're the only team who will be in action at home this weekend. Chance for the softball fans to go out and check out the team. But if you'd want to check out last night's game against Florida State, the win against a ranked opponent, you can tune in to TrojanVision on Sunday. That game will air at both 6 and 8:30. And, of course, to stay tuned to everything Trojan Sports, be sure to tune in to Trojan Sports Now tonight at 7 and 11.
Definitely. Sports is everywhere.
That's right.
Thank you, Danielle.
Thanks,
Danielle. Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, there will not be on a beach and there won't be any sand, but students are building castles to fight hunger in Pike County. Find out how in today's edition of Trojan Talk.
Plus, we already saw some rain this week, so hopefully we will have a weekend as clear as today. Tiffany, what should we expect?
Well, Courtney, you might want to keep those rain boots out and ready because we should be expecting to see some rain, and I'll let you know just how much coming up in weather.
Today, we gather to recognize the selfless decision of one of the most influential women of our time. The woman who, after having one too many drinks, chose not to drive home buzzed. Here today to honor Rachel is the family whose lives she spared.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Let's switch to Energy Star light bulbs and stop burning through cash. Saving energy saves you money.
Today is Saturday. 60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now Tiffany Lester joins with a look at weather.
So Tiffany, I think the main thing that's on everyone's mind is what can we expect? What weather can we expect for the weekend?
Well, it was a beautiful day today, a little cloudy, but very nice temperature-wise. We should be seeing some more of that rain come back into our area, so that'll put a damper on our weekend. But it should clear out very soon, and I'll let you know in just a minute. First, let's take a look at our TrojanVision campus snapshot, where we see that there are gray skies out as the sun is setting, but it's still very nice on the Bibb Graves Quad. As we take a look at current conditions, as I said, partly cloudy, temperature of 78 degrees, dew point 62 degrees, humidity at 57%, barometer at about 30 and steady, and winds coming from the north at 4 miles per hour. Today's statistics, we saw a high of 81, a low of 59, 0 rain in our area today. The sun rose at 6:08 and will set at 7:17. As we take a look at temperatures around the state, we see that Alabama is seeing some high 70s, even some 80s in the southern portions, Dothan and Mobile, but it's mostly cloudy skies out in every area. For current temperatures, as you see in Florida, they're seeing some 80-degree temperatures, and closer to our area, just those 70 degrees. As you get to the Carolinas, you see some low 70 degrees. And as you branch out, you see that as you're seeing along the eastern coast, those 70, 80-degree temperatures in the middle section of the United States, they're seeing those 60-degree temperatures. As you get further out west, it gets cooler, and the reason for that being this, on the current service map, this cold front moving in with the low pressure system, it's keeping all the cooler temperatures in the middle section of the United States and keeping the warmer temperatures in the southeast and the eastern coast. But we should be seeing those cooler temperatures coming down and also bringing this rain into our area. Southern part of Florida is seeing some action, some rain here or there, but all along here that rain will be coming into our area over the next 48 hours. You see that heavier rain just in Louisiana and Tennessee, but in our area we should be having slight chance of rain, half an inch to an inch. In Florida they are completely covered in rain, heavier than in Alabama, but still be aware if you're traveling for the weekend. As you take a look at Saturday's forecast, that rain, as I said, will be in our area, stretching all along the eastern coast. And on Sunday, that rain should be clearing out, but we should be having a very windy day, so be aware of that. Florida, as I said, just very rainy. And on Monday, that rain and all the wind is out of our area. It should be a very nice Monday going into the beginning of next week. Tuesday, nothing. It's very clear all throughout the majority of the United States. For tonight's forecast, we see partly cloudy skies, possible showers tonight, light and variable winds coming from the southwest at about 3 miles per hour with a low of 58, so it will be very cool tonight. Tomorrow's forecast, mostly cloudy with afternoon thunderstorms, 50% chance possibility of that. Winds coming from the west-northwest at 7 miles per hour with a high of 77. And for our 4-day forecast, we see that Saturday there is that 50% chance of thunderstorms, high of 77, low of 51. On Sunday, as I said, very windy, but the temperatures are dropping as you go into the beginning of next week with a high of 74, low of 49. Monday, partly cloudy skies, a high of 68 with a low of 46. And Tuesday, a high of 74, but it will be sunny. So the temperatures will go down this weekend by about 5 to 10 degrees, but on Tuesday it will go back up.
Okay, well, a little bit of rain here and some few temperature drops, but we'll get back to the nice weather.
And bring on the sunshine for summer.
Right. Thanks so much, Tiffany.